The thing is when you first do LSD, there's so many different types of feelings in a hallucinative state that can happen to where you feel like you can conquer the world. Hello, everybody. My name is Pej. I'm an interventionist. Substance abuse, alcoholism, and mental health are my specialties. I help a lot of people that are struggling with these various types of deficiencies. Today, I want to talk about LSD. Lysergic acid is the actual official name for it. So LSD, I mean, this is a hallucinogen. This has been used for many decades. It's something that, I felt compelled to talk about today because I have a lot of teenagers that are reaching out to me that are experimenting. They're in that experimental phase of their life right now using it. I believe that they want to expand their minds just like I did back then. A lot of times when I'm talking to them, I see my 16-year-old self having a conversation with them and remembering what it was like during that time. It's not like everybody in high school was out doing LSD or acid, but there was people that were doing it. And I realize now, almost 30 some odd years later, there's still kids out there that are doing it. So one has to wonder how this stuff gets distributed, how it's out there. I know that there are certain chemists or people that have the abilities to be able to create LSD, to make it in mass quantities and to be able to sell it. And in this day and age with the internet, I'm sure that it's much more easy to access than back in the day when we had to know someone that knew someone to get it. My reason for doing it is I wanted to escape. I had already been experimenting with marijuana, with alcohol, with other sort of hallucinogens like, mushrooms, psilocybin, and things like that. But when it came to LSD, I knew myself, like this is what I've heard about, what I've been taught is much more powerful than, it's a powerful hallucinogen, much more powerful than mushrooms and psilocybin or marijuana for that matter. And the potency of marijuana back then is nothing like it is these days. Depending on how the THC is distributed. But when it came to LSD, when we would get it, it was pretty much a crapshoot. We would get our hands on it. We would do one hit to make sure that it actually worked. And then we would go on these trips. And when we would do it, we really thought we were having a good time. And at times it felt like we were. I talk to people now that are recovered addicts or alcoholics. And I just asked them, like, what was your experience with LSD and did you like it? And they say that it changed their life completely. It basically made them expand and go into different parts of their brain capacity and mind and thought capacity that they'd never experienced before. The only problem with it is when you come down from it, that's where you really feel the effects of how much it can wear away at you, depending on how you're doing it. And if you do it in excess and continually keep doing it, what can this do for a person's mental state? People on LSD could definitely have psychotic breaks. I watched a couple of people actually have that happen to them when I was younger. I myself experienced mild symptoms of psychotic breaks. There was times when I really was on it and I wished that it would just stop. I wished that it would end. There was times when I was on it for 5-6 hours, and then when I was coming down, I would hear my mother's voice in my head saying, Pej, must you do this to yourself? Like, why are you destroying your brain? Why are you destroying your life? So definitely there was that guilt and shame and remorse. The thing is when you first do LSD, there's so many different types of feelings in a hallucinative state that can happen to where you feel like you can conquer the world. Like you have all the answers to the world. Like everything seems to make more sense in various ways. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people would experiment with LSD before it was even not legal. So you can read up on it, the Timothy Learys and those different types of people that were making LSD very hot and accessible and usable during those times. I myself too, when I was 16 or 17 years old, remember there was a University of California, Irvine article that was written by some of the students that went there in regards to LSD, saying that people that actually experiment with this are more in touch with their emotions. And so this became another excuse of why I should be able to do this stuff, because I'm lost in my path in the world, and why not try hallucinogens since I'm already experimenting with other drugs. Dangerous things can happen. Obviously, we know about the Charles Manson, Charlie's Angels and all the different things that they were doing when they were messing with this stuff too. Some of them acted very violently, whether they were on it or not. Does that matter? I mean, truth be told, this was a period of time when it was like free for all. Everybody was just having fun and doing it, and then some people acted out and did certain things. There's also been many stories of people that are a danger to their own lives. They don't realize that they're in a different state, a different realm in their mind, and during times when they are on LSD, they will put their life at risk or actually do certain things where they take their lives or affect other people because they're under the influence of it, and may put other people's lives at danger or actually, cause somebody else to lose their life as a bad result of either being behind the wheel or acting a certain way or becoming psychotic as a result of being on LSD for long periods of time. So LSD does not show up in drug tests. There are people that, in working in treatment for numerous years now, I haven't seen a lot of people actually come in for LSD addiction. Even back in the day when we used to use LSD, it was not a common drug addiction that people would use often as like their primary drug that they would try to do. It was more of an experimental drug, but this is what I'm seeing now. In this day and age, this is the end of 2022, almost 2023, there are people that are messaging me in the TikTok space and other various platforms that are saying that they have a problem with LSD. And my first question is to them, how often are you doing it? And they'll say, I'm doing it a lot. I'm doing it every weekend. I'm doing it every other day. I've been doing it for the last month. There's the old rumor or myth about, if you do LSD 6 times, you would be classified as legally insane. I don't necessarily find that true, like not permanently legally insane, but there's people that can definitely act insane while doing it. And therefore, if that's what that came from and originated from, then okay, that might make sense. But regardless of the fact, to think that right now our youth, and I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that are experimenting with LSD that are in their 40s and 50s, but our youth, the people that are in their adolescent period where they're still, their brains are still developing, they still haven't completely grown, not spiritually, not emotionally, not mentally, are out there doing this particular drug, and it's becoming a problem for them. And some of them are doing it and going to school, some of them are leaving school, cutting class to go and get high on LSD. Some people are going on their long journeys in the evenings or the daytimes to the beach or to parks or to the mountainous areas and places like that. Some people like going to amusement parks on it. This is what people do. I mean, there's no question about it. There's a percentage of adolescent kids that will have tried it. Now, me, being a former addict that's tried many different types of drugs, when I talk to people that are in the recovered addictive space, we talk about certain types of drugs that they used, and some of them say, I've never tried LSD in my life, and I tell them, well, I don't think you missed anything. Yes, the hallucinations that come with LSD can definitely make you feel like you're expanding your mind and going into certain realms of the brain and imagination that you've never actually encountered. But with everything that feels good, there's always some kind of repercussion, some kind of consequence that comes out of it. On the back end of using drugs, there will be withdrawals, there will be certain feelings that somebody has, there will be depressive thoughts, there will be anxiety. Anxiety on LSD can happen while on it. And that happens because somebody loses control completely and might not be able to function. At some point or another, the fear will start to peer its way into the brain space and make a person start to freak out. And that's why sometimes somebody will have a bad trip, if you will. I've myself did it a bunch of times, and then when I actually had a bad trip, I thought to myself, I don't really think I like this stuff anymore. But if there's a lot of people, if they're coming down off of LSD, their brain kind of becomes like mush to the point where they can't equate, they can't put thoughts together, they can't put words together because they've done so much damage in a short period of time to their brain while being on LSD that they need some time to just settle. And then there's some people that have permanent effects as a result of LSD. There are people that have mental health disorders already as it is, some of them that have not yet shown themselves, and some people that are actually getting to a point in their life where there may be signs of mental health and then when they go do an LSD on top of that, it intensifies their mental health and makes them go into a schizophrenic state, or even, end up having full-blown schizophrenia as a result of it. Psychosis is real when it comes to LSD. Most definitely. There are people that will experience LSD-induced psychosis as a result of either doing too much, or doing it too many times, or doing too high of a dosage to the point where they lose their minds. And there's been a lot of people on my TikTok that I see, and plus I've, just from my own professional background and history and in my own personal use, have seen people that have been hospitalized, that have been put under observation because they have just gone out of mind, out of body, to a place where they've completely lost any type of brain capacity, like in full flight from reality, to the point where you can't even talk to them. They're just out of their mind. And this is very scary when it comes to LSD. Now, if you or somebody you know is struggling with LSD addiction or other addictions along with LSD, please, I would love to be able to talk to you. If you have a family member, if you yourself feels like you're doing it too much and it's becoming a problem for you in your life, and you'd just like to have a conversation, I'll make myself available to you. If you have somebody that needs help, that's using LSD, I'm always there to help anybody that that needs to get some kind of treatment or help in order to get off of LSD and other types of drugs too. My name is Pej. My number is 310-596-9356. You can always reach me. I would love to be able to talk to you for a consultation.